episode. You know when we were talking about all the email list stuff?
Yeah.
Right? And basically people think that I to sell information to companies. That's some of the feedback that I have received over the last 2 weeks.
Okay, so Mike, I'm looking at our show notes, which, as I have commented many times, are very, very thorough show notes. But you have a section where you want to justify and defend yourself for your marketing nature.
Yep.
And this section is hugely long.
I've been thinking about it a lot, yeah.
Yeah, I can tell you've been thinking about it long. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 top-level bullets for this section, which then have many, many sub-bullets in them, all of which I can see in advance are Mike trying to justify his position as a marketing man. It is much, much more thorough. I think you might have written more in your defense than the whole of the audience wrote in the Reddit about your marketing nature.
Yes, completely. Yes. And really, it was like 3 people. But still, I did also feel this listening back. Like, I've heard you say this on Hello Internet a bunch, especially in the earlier days, where like you'd listen back and you were like, oh man, look what I've done. And I felt it at the time. So what we were talking about was this Google Match thing, right? And the idea of people, like companies being able to upload their email databases and have that do some targeted marketing. Mm-hmm. And I was talking about why I thought that was a good idea. Now, I think that is a good idea in traditional marketing if that's your business, right? I was thinking about it as in the stuff that I used to work in and how that would work for me if I was still in that business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But one of the key parts about marketing, Gray, is knowing your audience. And I know my audience well enough that I would never do anything like this. Because it's, let's say, for example, we set up an email list. Mm-hmm. And we took people's email lists and about stuff in the same way that you do. Mm-hmm. If I sold that email address list, I would lose all of my listeners. Mm-hmm. Because everyone would be really, really mad. So I know not to do it, so I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, but last time when we were talking about the email list and the Google Match program, the idea on the table was Google Match would, in theory, want me to upload that database, not sell it, just upload it, and then I could advertise CGP Grey related products to people while they're just browsing around the web, if Google knows who they are. And I believe your exact words were, "That's an amazing thing. You should do that."
So, I didn't say you should do that, I don't think.
Like a monster if I uploaded that database into Google's new advertising program and then told Google, I want you to follow these people around with ads for CGP Grey sweatshirts wherever they are on the internet.
I think that's a great business idea.
This is the marketer inside you.
It is a great idea under traditional marketing methods, but the same feeling I feel applies. It is a great idea if you're approaching it from a traditional way. But if you did it, it would be death to your business. That's the difference. That's the feeling that I have. It's like, I could do all of this stuff. Like in the same way that we could put ads on the Relay site which track people around the web. Like, but we don't do any of that because I know it would be detrimental to my business. I think it's key to say that I understand my audience and I know that people wouldn't like it, so I wouldn't do it. So all I can do is ask you to trust that I'm not evil. And I will now, because I know that that's difficult when you say that, I will now ask you, Gray, do you trust that I'm not evil?
Yeah, I trust that you're not evil, because we're working together. I wouldn't work with you if I thought that you were an evil business person.
So that's what I thought the only way I could get out of this, because I know everything that I've just said could still be used against me. Right. I need to lean upon the goodwill people have for you as a barometer of my evilness. Right?
Yes, you're basically a credibility leech right now. That's what you've just worked into here. Is you think people will trust me that you're not an evil person, an
Yep.
evil business person.
So I have an appreciation for traditional marketing and how it works. But this type of stuff works for big businesses because it doesn't matter to them if they upset a percentage of people, right? Because they're working on such a large scale. But the percentage of our audience that will be upset by doing something like this is way higher than a bank. So that's why I know that I should never do it.
Well, again, I will take your word at the experience that I have had with podcasts, which is listening back to yourself and being astounded by how remarkably unclear you are. Because I don't remember any part of that conversation involving the words, you shouldn't do it, it would be bad for your business. I just remember that conversation.
Oh, no, we did. I didn't say that. I'm saying that now.
Right.
But I didn't say that then. That was the problem. I was talking about why it would be a good idea, but it would actually be a worse idea than a good idea.
Right. But it seems like that is a rather key part to not have included because I had loaded up on my screen a tweet that I think summarized what I was thinking during that conversation better than I could have said it. But Anthony C. on Twitter tweeted at you and said, "People sitting at home waiting for special offers targeted to them is a fairy tale they tell baby marketers." And I felt like that was exactly the feeling that I had during that whole conversation.
I saw this and I bit my tongue, right? Because it's like Anthony is mocking my marketing knowledge, and of course I know people don't sit at home waiting for offers.
I know.
But targeted offers have a better response than non-targeted offers. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not imagining people sitting there like cross-legged looking at the mailbox and just with their hands out waiting for the mail to come every morning. But I just know from my time doing this stuff, if you can target something, it has massively better response rates. So this is like what you do with the targeting for your email newsletter. So you ask people what they want to know about.
Right.
And then they get things that are related to them. That's the targeting.
Is there anything else from this gigantic bullet-pointed list that you want to talk about, or was really this list here that I'm looking at an act of catharsis for you?
Oh yeah, I needed to get all this stuff out, and then I figured I would maybe bring points forward from this multiple 100-word essay that I've written. I expect that I will probably be pulling from this essay again in our next episode.
Right, yeah.
As people continue to mine my evil ways for all that stuff. I am a nice guy, I promise. So you know we were talking about content blockers last time?
Yes, talking about content blockers.
I have installed another content blocker, but this one is not an ad blocker. So this is like one of the good things about these content blockers is it can block anything in your web browsing world. Mm-hmm. And I have found, this was sent to me by my friend Rob, this is a content blocker to block the cookie notices on European Union websites.
Oh, those are so annoying.
So for people that don't know, maybe if you're not in the EU or you don't visit websites from the EU, every time you go to a website that's part of the European Union, it pops up a little alert to tell you about the cookie policy that you have to go, like you have to click continue or close to know that you're having cookies tracked on you. And this blocker basically just removes all of those notices, which is fantastic. It's called Cookie Box.
Those things are so annoying. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure how that works. I don't like if someone from America is just browsing EU websites. I don't know if they see that or not.
Yeah, I don't know that either. I know it's a European Union thing, so I know that like websites in the EU have it on there, but I don't know if it's restricted to people surfing from the EU as well.
Yeah, so Americans listening might not have any idea what we're talking about. But it is hugely irritating that every time you go to a website, they're like, oh, by the way, did you know that we use this completely standard piece of web technology? Please click yes to allow us to use this standard piece of web technology. And it's just irritating, and very often on iOS it ends up covering up stuff. Like it's hard to even click yes. You want to continue onward. So this is I think a very interesting use of content blockers, which is not ad blocking.
Yeah. So I was doing my evil marketing during the time that cookies came around, this like cookie warning, And I remember it was referred to in the company as cookie apocalypse, which I thought was quite funny. Because everyone knew how worse it makes everybody's websites, right? Especially on mobile.
Right.
Like on the App Store description page for Cookiebox, there's a picture of the BBC website, and like it's on an iPhone 6, and it's 50% of the page.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just... Yeah, it's absolutely irritating. It's one of those laws that I think just accomplishes nothing. Like, what are you trying to protect people from? Why is this requirement here? Of all of the tracking that ever happens, like, is this the worst kind? I don't really think so. It's just, yeah. It seems to me like this was a great idea 15 years ago when the web was newer, but this is just so way behind the times now that it's just irritating.
So this is an example of one that I like. There are so the most popular, I think, blocker at the moment, one blocker, also does this. It's also an ad blocker as well, but it can also block the cookie stuff. But if you're looking for just an app that does that, this is one of them, which is quite cool.
I actually wanted to mention one blocker in a somewhat related fashion, talking about content blocking that is not necessarily ad blocking. Because one blocker is what I have installed on my iOS devices. And straight away, one of the things I did notice was, yes, that it blocks the EU cookies. Oh, thank God. This is just great. But you can use one blocker to write your own custom blocking of whatever you want. They actually have a little web interface where you can, if you know regular expressions, you can write out a regular expression to do content blocking of just about anything that you want. So if you want to, you can disable all of the ad blocking stuff that's in there and then just kind of create your own little blocker if that's something that you want to do, and if you have a little bit of technical knowledge, or you at least know about how to use wildcards in URL strings. I'm doing something with that right now, but we'll probably talk about that on the next episode. But I just wanted to give that a little bit of a shout out as another interesting way that content blockers can be used that is not ad blocking.
You'll be happy to know that my Cortex t-shirts have finally arrived.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, they arrived on Tuesday. I have had so many problems with the customs and the post and everything. It's been a nightmare, but my 4 t-shirts arrived, and over the last 3 days I've just been wearing Monkey Brain t-shirts. I just keep changing them, and I'm in blue today, obviously, because blue is the correct color.
It's the correct color for you, yeah.
Well, I just came back from a trip to Indianapolis, which we'll talk about a little bit later on in the show. I was at a conference, and I saw a good handful of Monkey Brain t-shirts, and the majority I saw were blue. So I think people were pandering because they knew I was going to be there. However, it felt good.
Yeah, that's not a random sampling of the population.
No, it's completely biased. However, I still liked it very much to see a lot of blue Cortex Monkey Brain t-shirts floating around the conference. It was very nice to see.
Everybody loves bias in their favor.
Today's episode of Cortex is brought to you very kindly by Casper. Casper is an online retailer of premium mattresses that you can get for yourself for just a fraction of the price that you're used to paying in stores. The mattress industry has always been one that's difficult to get into from a price perspective, because you are going to buy something that's pretty expensive, and the way that you have to do it is really kind of weird. You go to a store and you sit on a bed for a moment or two, and then you decide if you want to sleep in that bed for the next 10 years. The mattress that you sometimes sit